Grace and peace, friends and family. I hope that you are all doing well and continuing to fearlessly pursue your most significant state. Today, I want to have a conversation about the violent narcissist, the one who is physically aggressive, the one who is physically abusive. You know, a lot of people, when they hear that, oh, you're with somebody who put their hands on you, they want to question, well, why would you stay with this person? Didn't you see the signs in the beginning? If it was me, no, none of those things. Don't listen to any of those things, because nobody leads with their worst qualities. When you've just met somebody, you know, narcissists especially wear their representatives well. And they don't just come out of the door swinging. They don't just come out of the door telling you that, listen, I'm an aggressive type of person. If you do these things to me, I'm gonna knock your lights out. They just don't do that. And so don't feel bad that you did not notice any of the signs. Now, when I'm talking about this type of narcissist, I want to make it very clear that male and female, men and women, narcissists have the ability to be violent. And it's not that it's the person, because we look at the person, and especially when it's the female narcissist who is the aggressor, the violent one, and she may be petite or whatever she may be, and people will think, well, why, how could she put her hands on you? You're a man, or you could be another female, but I'm just saying. But it's the spirit that empowers them. It's the spirit that is at work on the inside of them. It is the manifestation of the evil that they walk around with. So it's really important to know that it's, you know, that it doesn't matter whether it's a man or a woman, either one of them can be capable. It's also important to note that not every narcissist is physically violent. It's those sociopaths, that group of them that are violent, right? And I know there are many of us who have a story where we encountered this type of horror from somebody who professed to love us, but love does not put their hands on you. Love does not seek to belittle you. Love does not seek to devalue you. Love doesn't do those things. But it starts off like any other part of a relationship with a narcissist. They groom you. They prepare you they groom you so that it can be subtle. It's not forced. It's not a lot. It's just, little by little. And eventually it blows up. But I want to share these points with you today. I believe I have 5. We'll see how many I have anyway. But I believe I have 5 of them, and I want to just have a conversation with you, and please chime in so that we can help each other identify what red flags we can look out for, so that we don't walk in this anymore. But it really starts off, that grooming for physical violence, because they know who they are. It starts off with intimidation. We got to remember that these are tyrants. They're aggressive. And what will happen is they will gaslight you and try to tell you that, acts of intimidation do not count for physical violence. Yes, it is. When somebody is standing over you, when they're hovering over you, and they just won't allow you to have space. They want to be following you around the house. That is all aggressive, but it's grooming you. One thing that people may miss is that when they punch holes, or they punch the door, they punch the wall, they break things, they throw things, that is one of your first red flags, because the initial acts won't be targeted at you, but it is a sign to you that, listen, it's about to be your face. It's about to be your chest. It is just a sign that lets you know that they are capable of violence. And it's not up to you to say, hey, do I stay? Maybe, it's just a bad day. But unfortunately, this is where we mess up, many of us, myself included, and we don't see it for what it is. We buy into the whole show, because it is grooming and it's strategic. But you got to understand, it's the spirit that's on the inside of them. Now, if we recognize that this is not a battle against flesh and blood, what spirits are operating, and this is where your discernment has to be key, because we know that they operate with familiar spirits. So they know your family line. They know what you've experienced. They know what you're more than likely to fall for, what will get you to, what will pull on your heartstrings. So you find that they start off like this, and then they just start apologizing and saying, "Oh, I didn't mean this. I don't know what happened," and they'll make themselves the victim in that moment. And here you are trying to comfort them for punching their a hole in the wall. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. Those outbursts of anger are just a sign, or it's subconsciously letting you know that I can do bodily harm. If I have no respect for property, and we know that narcissists look at people as property, why would they respect you? They go around and they create hostile environments. And with these environments, the purpose of them is to alienate you from people. So this makes it difficult for you to leave. This is where they employ isolation, keeping you from your friends and family, keeping you from a sound source, a sound, friend who can tell you like, this, what you're experiencing isn't normal. And they have, they want to create an atmosphere, like I said, a hostile one, where you are now gaslighting yourself. And this is where it works in their advantage, because when you get to the point where you are gaslighting yourself and second guessing everything, it makes them appear more powerful. It's an illusion, but it makes them appear more powerful in their own mind, because they have you doing the work against yourself. As crazy as it is. But they make it difficult for victims to leave. This is where sometimes you find that they take away their documents. They take away passports. For those of you who are, who have their passports, like maybe you're foreign, they hide your passport. They hide your social, your IDs. They keep them and tell the victim that you can't go anywhere without my permission. And this is where you sometimes hear they lock people in the house. Like, imagine like how they raise children. Like, you're not going to school. You're going to stay in this house. You're going to stay in this room until your demigod, lets you out. And they create an environment where it feels like for the victim, they can't leave. So hope is lost. And what it essentially does is it causes the victim to become dependent on them and to trust the narcissist's judgment. Big mistake, because the narcissist's judgment, what judgment? They don't have any. What decisions can they make? Absolutely none, because of who their character is. And it's that entity, that spirit on the inside of them that is leading them. And so what good can come from that? But then they also start to restrain the victims. They've graduated from the intimidation to the isolation, and now here they are restraining you. It starts off subtly, holding you back, pressing you down, pushing you back, pushing you around, little slap here and there. It's not yet aggressive. Blocking exits, taking keys, just restraining you, keeping you confined, false imprisonment. But this is all grooming for further antagonistic behavior. And what happens is the victims become so desensitized to this type of, abuse, the restraining. They may hold you down on the bed. They may keep you from entering or exiting the house. And it just grooms you for something more, because eventually they'll do it for as long as they have to get you to the point where, you become indifferent. You become unbothered. You don't even notice it. Maybe in the beginning, when they first held you down, you had a look of fear that paralyzed you, yet they enjoyed that. You got to understand that they enjoy it. That demon is feasting on it. They are enjoying it. They are here for it. They love it. It feeds them. And can you imagine somebody seeing sheer terror and yet enjoying it? That is not normal. That is not normal, but they do. And don't ever get it twisted. They do. They enjoy it. It empowers them. It emboldens them. And they go off thinking of other ways to be more antagonistic, other ways to terrorize you. They feed off it. They enjoy it. Listen, they are here for it. So all the apologies that come after this mean absolutely nothing. They mean nothing. Those are empty words. It's part of the performance. The only thing that is not the performance is when they look at you with the hate in their eye, with the envy in their eyes. Sometimes in these moments is where you see that black eye appear when you are crying, and when if they're restraining you and you're saying like, I'm being hurt, that narcissistic smirk shows up on their face because it's feeding them. It's feeding them. But then you'll find that, they'll graduate or they'll move forward and start actually being more aggressive now, and this is where they shift their behavior, and they may start hitting, kicking, punching, twisting your arm, choking, pulling your hair, dragging you. Now, even those like who, this is a difficult one for many people, but like sometimes, they restrain you, right? You start off playing a game. It's a sexual fantasy, handcuffing and everything, tying you and those type of things, but then leave you like that. And then just take advantage of you while you are in a vulnerable position. It means nothing to them. They will force feed you. Sometimes you even find that, if it's somebody that they have to give medication, they're over medicating them, they're under medicating, burning, with the cigarette butts. This is all abuse. I mean, I could go on forever with the different examples, but none of this is right. But this is because the restraining no longer satisfies them. They have matured, and that evil wants something more. They've got to constantly feed that entity, that demon on the inside of them, because how else? How else are they going to get off? How else are they going to deliver what they are supposed to feed that entity? They have to keep on upping those acts of aggressions. They always have to amp it up. These are signs that, listen, you've got to get out, and you have to do whatever you have to do to ensure you get out of that thing while you still have a heartbeat and a pulse, while you are still you. Because as with each stage, they get tired of it. After you become numb, you become numb to the hair pulling, you become numb. And I'm not saying you don't fight back, but they know, oh, okay, she wants to match my energy. Oh, he thinks he can, they know that eventually they need to kick it up a notch. They need to take things further. Narcissists always take things way too far. But the next part is where you really become endangered. Because remember, narcissists believe that they are a god. They have a god complex. And if allowed to, they will take you to the point where they literally endanger your life. And I don't need to sit here and tell you about how many people have lost their lives to a sociopath, to a narcissist. We know of many stories. They're in the news every single day. They are in our faces on TV 24/7. But that's because they got tired of the other phases. That's because the narcissist didn't see fear in your eyes anymore. That's because that thing on the inside needed more. And it's that evil that just keeps maturing. But once they've become aggressive and they're actually putting hands on you, at that point, it's way too late. I'm not saying it's too late to get out, but you should get out as soon as they start with the intimidation. But at this point, it's just a matter of time. And for different narcissists, different sociopaths, that phase, it just depends on how long they want to take it, but they will always make it worse. They always find a way to amp up their antics, to just do the most, really. I don't know how else I could describe it, but they've always got to that evil always has to graduate. Listen, one thing the Bible tells us is that our bodies are a temple of the Holy Spirit. The narcissist's fragile ego knows that you get accustomed to their old ways or the old levels of abuse. They know that they have to take it up. They know that they have to consistently get worse. Your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. The Spirit of God dwells on the inside of you. We've got to respect our temples. And sometimes, I think that's one thing that helped me a lot, just recognizing that, listen, my body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. I've got to be sure of what I'm allowing to come in and out of me. And I've got to guard that, because sometimes just looking at myself, I didn't have the confidence or the courage to do some things. But when I understood that, God, I love you and I want to make it to your kingdom one day, I recognize that, listen, I got to start respecting my body. And along the way, it helped me start respecting myself. You deserve peace within your temple. Think about how we want the Spirit of God to reside on the inside of us. We've got to have an environment where it can grow. But if we're walking around in terror, if we're walking around frightful, if we are walking around on eggshells and continuously going through these abuse cycles, it's disrespecting our very temple. It's disrespecting ourselves. And I just want to encourage you, if you are somebody who has been through it, you're not alone. I went through it. Wow. I got stories for days, but I went through it too. But you can heal. You can come out of it. You can renew your mind. You can fully recover from the emotional effects of this physical violence, as well as the physical ones, But if you're somebody who is in this situation, listen, I beg you, don't stay. It is so not worth it. Your life is worth more than property. Your life is worth more than dollar signs. There is no other you. You deserve to live your life according to God's will, not according to what some demon from hell thought that they could come and do to you. No, you deserve to live your life in the fullness of what God said. And you deserve to walk. You deserve to have peace within your own flesh, within your own skin. And so, I encourage you to call the domestic violence hotline. I encourage you to reach out to domestic violence communities, the YMCA, to see how you can get resources to help you come out of that situation. We're going into the holiday season. And one thing that really blows my mind, but I can understand why, is one of the statistics that comes out of domestic violence shelters is that this is the time where they are most empty. Because people want to go back to their family. They want, especially with children, they want their children to have a normal holiday season. But the tragedy about that is not everybody makes it out of the holiday season, or they don't get to see the new year because they went back. It's not worth it. Your life is worth so much more. And I just want to encourage you that if you do need help, if you do need some extra support, if you do need to talk during the holiday season, email me. Let's talk. You don't have to go through it alone. You really don't. There are resources and there are people who will walk with you and talk with you. But sis, bro, friends, family, you do not need to walk this road alone. This is why God created communities. This is why God gave us shared experiences so that we can grow together and help each other. So I just wanted to talk about this real quickly and just hopefully encourage somebody. I look forward to catching up with you, as well as hearing what your thoughts are and seeing what other information that you could offer to help encourage another brother or a sister. So may God bless you and continue to come from behind.